Overhaul the match engine! Wingbacks that can cross! New gens that look like human beings! I've been asking you guys what things you want to see in FM23, and some of your ideas are quite frankly brilliant. I'm going to talk about a few of those today because, well, Football Manager 2023, it's only just around the corner now. We're, what, a couple of months away from the new game releasing, and I'm starting to get excited. So here are some FM23 features that you want to see. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Clayts, and today we're going to look ahead to Football Manager 2023. It's going to be out in about less than 2 months now. November the 8th is the official release date, and we can expect the beta, or the beta, which is correct. Let me know in the comments down below. The beta will release about 2 weeks before that, circa 2 weeks. And no, I don't know when it's going to be out, but about 2 weeks before that. It's soon. It's exciting. We can start looking ahead to the New Year's game. And at this stage right now, as I record this, we have no idea on new features. They've released nothing really in the trailer. They didn't really show any gameplay, did they? So let's speculate. Let's have a think. Let's think about what we want to see. I've been asking you guys to do exactly that. I've put out a Google form, which I've had plenty of replies to. Today I'm going to pick out the best ones of that. And if you want to add your own ones to this Google form, the link to it is in the description and it's the pinned comment on this video. And maybe, just maybe, if I get a load of really good ones, we'll make a part 2 to this video. How does that sound? Let's jump into my first feature request that I've got that I really like, and that is, okay, I'm sorry, no, but before we do that, a quick reminder to subscribe to the channel if you've not already done so. It's my duty to ask you to do that. Also, if you do enjoy today's video, leave a like on it as well down below. Leave me those comments as well. You can put your feature requests in the comments or discuss some of the ones that we talk about today. I'd love to read about it down below. Okay, the first feature request is probably the most popular one on all of the video, and it was a set pieces screen overhaul. So many of you asked for this, and I am right there with you. Please, 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 SI, please, Miles, if you're watching, can we have a little tweak, a little bit of improvement to the set pieces screen? Because as it is right now, it's so rigid and set in stone, and it's still easy to manipulate and still easy to exploit almost. And I feel like that's the reason that they want to make it quite rigid and set in stone, is because otherwise you could exploit it really easily. I still think it is, right? Near post corners, get a big guy, head in. I've made so many videos about this. We've talked about how left backs are broken because of the set pieces. Let's have a little bit more to it. Let's really think about this. Can we have an improvement to the set piece screen? Please, SI. I'm just looking at the Google form here and some of the submissions on here. The first one on there is a set pieces screen makeover. Somebody, I like this a little bit. It says improve set piece creation, including setting up multiple presets that can be cycled through or randomly selected during the game. So having different routines. You can kind of do that now with the routines setting in the game, but it's a little bit clunky and I'm not sure it particularly works. Somebody said improve set piece screen. Somebody said here making set pieces easier to make, which I don't know. Maybe that's part of the problem here. Maybe SI want it to be accessible to everybody, and we've got different levels of people. We're probably, if you're watching Football Manager videos on YouTube, you're probably part of the hardcore fan group here. You're not the casual player, which is difficult to get your mindset into because we play it a lot. Clearly, right? And maybe some people do want an easy game, and SI have this difficult task of wanting the casual player to come and play their game, but also catering to the players that want to go a little bit deeper. Maybe we could have a setting where we could say the simple set piece setup the way it is now, and then maybe there's an advanced one that if you want to go into advanced, that seems the way that you could do it for me anyway. And then maybe you have a little bit more to do if you go to the advanced setup. There's just an option, potentially. This person says more detailed set piece creator. There's definitely an audience for it. There's plenty of people just in my audience here asking for a set piece overhaul here, where you can control players' starting positions, run directions and timings. I feel like enough people are saying it that people have just got a bit sick. The set piece screen doesn't seem to have changed in, I don't know how many versions going back now, that there needs to be something tweaked. People want to do more with set pieces. We're seeing it more in the game, aren't we? In fact, somebody says it in their submission here. They'd like more staff options, maybe a set piece coach. And I like that idea, bringing in set piece coaches. We're seeing it in the real game at the moment, aren't we? Maybe you could have better proficiency from your set pieces if you've got a really good set piece coach. If your set piece coach is poor or they're not being used properly, maybe you can see that you're not scoring as many. You can see that in the data hub. We have these things in the game where we could make this really cool, couldn't we? I'm sure that there can be stuff that can be done, and I know that I'm being quite vague on here saying have good stuff be done, but I think you understand what I mean, right? A little thing that I wanted to add to it, actually, and I did tweet about this, and I'll show the tweet here, look, is I said, wouldn't it be cool to have the ability to run training drills for set pieces? So maybe if there was a more advanced set piece creator tool, then we could do training drills. If we have a good set piece coach, we can see how effective they're going to be. Maybe you could even see them play out in 2D or 3D and then be able to access the analysis for them in the data hub. Wouldn't that be really cool? And maybe you could do one per day, like run set piece drill, the way you've got it set up, and you could see how it would go. Something like that's a little bit more. I want to be able to control it that little bit more in the game. Those are my ideas on set pieces. I think it's a very valid first submission for our list today. Can we please see the set pieces be overhauled for FM23? Please. The second feature wish that I've picked out from our Google form is around sponsors. Lots of people have been asking for a little bit more control of signing sponsors for your club, and they can be fake sponsors, etc., etc. We'll get into that a little bit more in a second, but I'm going to actually branch this request out into a slightly bigger term of marketing. What I would like to see in FM23 is a little bit more insight into marketing in the game. It's a huge part of our modern game, isn't it? It is almost one of the driving factors around how a football club is run these days, is the marketability of the players and the club and how it comes across, and all of these things, social media being a massive part of our modern game. I like to see that reflected a little bit more in the game. There are little nods to it. We've got the social media feed, we've got things like shirt sales, etc., but I think we can do so much more in our game. I want to see how many social media followers a player has. You know, how big of an impact is it going to be to bring that player into your game? And then maybe we could have things like club sponsors being brought into that too. Now, I know what the argument's going to be here. Does a manager get to choose what the club sponsors are for a club? No, that's probably fair. However, my way of getting around this, and I know what people are going to say, chairman, manager, etc., etc., I'd still like it a little bit. Do you remember like LMA Manager, where you could pick your sponsors and your stadium and all that stuff? I think it was fun. I think people remember those old games because it was fun, right? And I want this game to be fun. So maybe we could have a workaround, and this is my idea for the workaround here. Maybe as the manager, you are just one of the voices on the board for these big club decisions. Maybe you can lodge your vote. Maybe the board will come to you and say, we've been approached by these sponsors. Do you want to say what you would prefer? And then it will be up to the chairman and the board to decide whether they listen to you or not. And you just get to see the inner workings. I don't know how realistic that is for a real football club because I'm not a real football manager. But I think bringing it into the game in some little way, I think it's fun, and I think it is something that I would like to see. Back in April, I actually mocked up this tweet about sponsors, and it sort of shows how I think it could be implemented into our game. I said, as a manager, you could offer an opinion on the commercial future of the club, vote on sponsors, maybe even potentially request a meeting if the board go down a commercial route which you don't align with. For example, if you see your club signing with a betting sponsor, maybe you're not happy with it. Maybe you can go and talk to the board about it. Maybe you can have a bit of an impact on it. I don't know. And again, it would have to be fake sponsorship. You know, I've made up a thing here called Cherry Red Records. That was the way that they did it in LMA Manager, wasn't it? It was really fun. Or maybe there's a branding commercial opportunity for the game here where you get real life sponsors in to the game to sponsor. I don't know how the legal side of that would work, obviously, but again, I feel like it's just an area where we could explore things, and there's an area for the game to grow here. The commercial side of it, the marketing side of the game, I would like to see it in the game that little bit more, and a few of you seem to agree with me on that. The third feature request that I want to highlight is so simple, but could be so effective, and it's something I really want to see in next year's game. It'd be so easy to go and change as well. And it's that, you know, when you want to go and praise a player's training because they've trained brilliantly, and there's maybe 8 of them that have all trained great, but you have to go through one by one by one. Praise training, praise training, praise training. Do the little conversation. It takes forever, doesn't it? Why can't we just do multiple of them at once? Wouldn't it just be great? And I know, right? I know the idea behind this is that it's almost supposed to be like you bring them in for a meeting to tell them you did great in training this week, and they get that nice little morale boost from it. But maybe we could just have a multiple meeting where we call in multiple players all at once, and they all have that little boost to morale. But maybe if you have multiple of them in there, their boost to their morale is that little bit less than if you did it individually, which could have more of an effect. Do you see what I'm trying to say here? Couldn't we just save a bit of time? Because it takes absolutely forever. And I'm not sure that SI want people going through and feeling like they're doing chores, which it almost feels like when you're doing that. Maybe this isn't something you do, but I know that a lot of players do this and it takes a long time. It could obviously work likewise for criticizing training or conduct or whatever it might be, where you want to talk to multiple players at once. it's such a simple fix, and it's just something I'd really like to see in FM23, please. The next one is one that I'm a little bit torn on how I actually feel about it. I'm not quite sure how we'd implement this, and I'm not quite sure how it would actually look in the game, but lots of people have requested it, so I do want to talk about it briefly. And that's, people are asking for more dynamic player personalities, and that is maybe something that will come a little bit later in the game when you have new gens, and we have it a little bit in our current game where we see players becoming, you know, those bad boy personalities, players who don't turn up for training, players that are out on the town late. Maybe a little bit more of this where it could become a little bit more dynamic. That's the word, isn't it? Maybe players who are lazy, or players that are, I don't know, just seeing more of it is basically the request here, isn't it? I don't know how I feel about this, because I don't want it to become too silly, and I don't want it to become too, I don't know, too much of a circus, the game, but maybe that could be fun. And going back to that thing that we talked about earlier about the game's supposed to be fun, what I'm almost imagining here is like WWE SmackDown 2 cutscenes in the parking lot where they're having fights and things. Maybe that would be too far, but could that also be quite fun? I'm not sure. But yeah, dynamic player personalities and seeing a bit more things that can generate in the game, and you know, things that are, that they could be really rare and not happen very often, but things that can make your save unique and things that you have to deal with as a manager. I can kind of see the appeal of that. So maybe that is something I do want to see. Again, the implementation of it, how it would actually be done, not quite sure. What do you think? Let me know that in the comments down below. But dynamic player personalities, maybe. Okay, there are so many of these requests that are so brilliant that they could all almost be their own video. So maybe we will need to do a part 2 to this. If you want to see a part 2 to this video, do let me know in the comments down below. And also make sure you do submit your own submissions on the Google form, which is in the pinned comment. And maybe if there are brilliant ones, we'll have to do a part 2, maybe even a part 3. We've got a bit of time before FM23 comes out, haven't we? But I do want to hear from you as well. The final submission that I wanted to highlight, because it made me laugh, was this one. Somebody said celebration where player and manager could interact / go topless if they score a late winner. You could go topless. You could do that anyway if you want, mate. Like I say, I know that there are going to be so many more feature requests that you guys are going to have, such as the match engine. The obvious ones are kind of left out here. I just wanted to put some of the ones that maybe I'm looking for in next year's game. But as I mentioned too, there could well be a part 2 to this video where we'll go through so many more. So do leave me some more submissions in the comments and on that Google form. But most importantly, have a lovely rest of your day. I'll catch you next time. Please subscribe to the channel. Bye-bye.